members of the King John staff.
I like it when you welcome us with warm smiles when we come in. It makes us feel happy and encourages us to learn.
I like it when you ask me how I am because it makes me feel like you care.
I like it when you show positivity with achievement points, praise slips and phone calls home. It helps motivate others to try and achieve that as well.
I like it when you stay resilient and don't get annoyed easily. You manage your emotions well even if you're upset or mad.
I like it when you show me how to do something again if I don't understand it the first time.
I like it when you don't give up when something goes wrong because it makes me feel like I should never give up.
I like it when you admit your mistakes because it makes me feel like I am in a safe space where I can admit mistakes too and no one will judge me.
I like it when you show us how to do the right thing even when it's hard to do.
I like it when you do what you say you're going to do because it means I can trust you.
I like it when you talk to me about my behaviour in private so I don't get embarrassed in front of the class.
I like it when you listen to both sides of the story before giving consequences.
I like it when you make me feel safe because it means that I can speak to you about how I feel instead of having to keep my thoughts in my head.
I like it when you tell everyone off, not just the people that have done it before.
I like it when you question everyone so we don't feel left out and we all get the same education.
I like it when you help out at things before and after school because some of us really need your support.
Thank you for teaching us with pride.
So that was just for the members of staff, and we thought a good investment just to show them that it matters, that they too are treating people with the core values that we expect from the students. After a lot of embedding of that, we've started to actually put it into our behaviour as well. So just to briefly go through this, I think the PowerPoint will be available and sent out later on. But essentially we have our core values: positivity, resilience, integrity, dignity, equality, and students get an ATL, attitude to learning grade, every time they get a data drop. So they've got, they either get below, expected, above or exceptional. Now on our character arc, that is often referred to in media, I suppose, with a character's journey, we've got basically where they need to be. The implication being that they need to ideally get highs up to exceptional as possible in a lesson. They know exactly what that looks like within a lesson, and so that all staff and all students are familiar with that, and that's how their pride points are being actually noted down, and their behaviour and character being tracked. Also, we have rewards. So we have a lot of certificates, a lot of badges. Students love badges. So we've got like positivity, integrity, dignity. I'll come back to that later about how they actually get the badges. And we've had staff awards every half term as well. So in briefing we'd give out awards. So and that for like dignity or equality, depending on the half term. And staff would actually vote for different members of staff, and they do that through Microsoft Forms. It was a really good way of doing that. Other ways of getting it throughout school is actually having mini scripts for heads of year, and we have morning lineups every morning. Obviously, not the afternoon morning lineups. And we actually embed the word of the week and give them a little like speech. They don't have to use it, but it's there if they want it. And just to remind students, okay, so week 3 of autumn 1 last year, they might say, right guys, make time this week to enjoy yourself and look after your own well-being. And they link that to positivity. Or it might be something to do with resilience and showing grit or something like that. So that really helps. Head of year said that's really useful, not just for morning lineups, but also for assemblies as well. In terms of character taught, probably the aspect in terms of main curriculum that we need to work on is actually getting these in. But we've got our approach is that we've got the 3 Ps: planning, so we try and put a bit of our core values in the SMSE section. People, we've got embedded in the language of staff and also their actions, and it's on PowerPoints as well. And that's the idea, that all of that is ubiquitous and prevalent in those three areas. So for example, again here, it's in the medium-term plan. I'm not going to stand here and say that it's in every medium-term plan yet. It's not, but eventually that's what we're looking for. Teaching the language of pride. If you've got little scripts, not necessarily that people actually have to use, but that they can use if they want to, and so they at least know how to use the language, even if that's kind of a simple way of getting it across. So just saying things like, well done for being honest, that shows really good integrity. Thank you for bringing my pen back at the end of the lesson, that shows really good integrity. And then demonstrating and modelling pride. So an example might be with resilience. We are modelling resilience when a student is maybe not doing what we expect them to do, and we get a bit frustrated with that, and we think, oh, okay, just carry on then, or you don't follow up with a detention when you said you were going to do that. That's in kind of integrity. But if you get angry in a class, you're not reflecting that core value. That we need to show them how we actually model being calm in different environments in order to show that. And of course, just PowerPoints. So, it might change in terms of history, and then PSHE. We might have a core value question. It kind of links to our core values. In English, we've got Scrooge at the end of Christmas Carol. How does he show all our values? And then finally, character sort. So we've got a poetry booklet that's got lots and lots of poems about our core values that we're going to be selling for charity this Christmas. A teacher actually wrote that one as well. It's in the staff bulletin. I don't know how many people always read the staff bulletin, but it's there. We've got selling core value confectionery and cookies, positivity popcorn, dignity donuts. I'm not sure that works quite as well. And we've got photographs in the newspaper, which brings me on to our social, as our communications manager, sorry. I sat down with him. This is extracurricular activities where we've got them linked up to, each club is linked up to a specific core value. And we think we need a bit more work on that, making that explicit. I don't think it's necessarily just enough to have R next to hockey, but at least students know that if they go into these kind of clubs, they are developing those skills. I'd say one of the biggest breakthroughs that we had after sitting down with my communications manager was that when I asked him, how do we get this character education out? How do we make it accessible and enjoyable? And he said, right, you need to send me something at the same time each week. Monday morning, the first thing that comes out is a video or just an image. What are the students doing in terms of core values? And you can see here, this is just 2 weeks on the Instagram. We've got positivity, being aspirational, and learning about equality, and those two videos are there. That's not just showing that little snapshot and trying to show, look, we're doing it, and it's not in the rest of it. For the last year, it's been every single week, which can be a lot of work, but people expect it, and they even, to a degree, look forward to it. Now, the next slide I'm going to show you needs a bit of explanation. We've got the idea of a lion on our crest, and I was making these videos every week, and I thought, wouldn't it be funny if in one of the videos I was in this moral dilemma, and then suddenly the King John lion appeared and gave me some advice. And so I bought a costume from Amazon for one joke, and filmed it so that it looked like I was talking to the King John lion, and he appeared, and I was just like, what is going on here? But then he would give me some advice. And so it snowballed rather out of my control. Students would come up to me and go, I really loved the lion video, that was really good. When is he coming again? I go, he's not. Okay, and almost every day they come up to me and goes, "Where's the line, sir?" Or, you know, "When are we going to see another video?" And they've really lapped it up, and it's a really weird thing because I just thought it'd be one funny joke, and you've got teenagers sort of really getting a kick out of it and enjoying it. So it's come up in quite a lot of videos. I try not to do it too much because it looks insane. I understand that, but it's a lot of fun and it seems to work if done in the right way. So might come back to that if there's time. I'll possibly show you a video there. But sequencing character education, then, that is the thing that we've put the most effort into, and trying to get that right, really. So coming back to those objectives, really, is being able to separate core values into skills, considering how it might spread these skills throughout a year, and then how do you actually build on those in terms of the year. Is there anyone who wants to share? I know you talked about this at the beginning. Is there anyone who wants to share how they do that? Is there any? Okay, so hopefully this will be useful for you. And I'm not saying it's necessarily the only way of doing it, of course not, but it has worked for us to an extent, and we are still in the process of creating the resources for it, but it's been a really, really useful foundation for us to build meaningful resources on top of. So we know we're not just putting loads of effort into creating something that's going to kind of fall through the mud of thoughtless construction and a lack of foundation. So the first thing we needed to do is take those values and think, right, what do those values actually mean to us? Not necessarily what do those words mean in the wider world. We can kind of change them a little bit. We can. They are malleable. Words are malleable. They are subjective. So we can use them for what we need them to a certain extent. I don't know whether I should say that as an English teacher, but we feel that it's true in the purpose of character, and we've all got to share this common language. So with positivity, we had greeting others. That was the first thing I thought of, because we have, a couple of years ago, it felt like the students were just walking through the school, not really acknowledging staff. So just from a staff points of view, it erodes at your sense of joy in the job if you feel that the students aren't really, saying hello or thank you at the end of a lesson, and really just expecting you to be there. And so we really wanted to work on that. And of course, that could fall into dignity, but we chose positivity because it fit that part there. And as you can see, with something like resilience, if you ask a student what resilience means, they'd probably say not giving up. But actually, if we broke it down into different ways of thinking about it, it's about facing failure and not necessarily being completely put off by failure. It's about staying motivated, not giving up. It's about managing emotions. That's a huge thing for students. Probably one of the biggest things. And it's a thing that staff have to combat as well and conquer. Finding creative solutions was something that is also about resilience, really. As part of being creative is being resilient enough to get over a problem and come up with a solution. And of course, asking for help, actually. You don't always need to be resilient. It's not just fighting battles on your own. It's being able to ask for help when needed. So we took those, and then what we did was put them in this document, which I've printed out for you. And so this was us last year. And it's not necessarily needed for every member of staff to have this and to be looking at this every day, because the resources are sent out for them. But essentially what we initially thought was, we throw positivity into autumn 1 for every year group, and we go through the 5 key skills, beginning with greeting others, because that makes sense, and then perhaps being optimistic, because it's the end of our half term. And then we go through resilience, integrity, dignity, equality. And at the end, we then apply pride in summer 2. So we've got in the classroom, around the school, in the community, in the workplace, and then around the world. So then they take the core values and think, right, how can we develop character in those contexts? I'll just go through what those top things say. So each of the teacher responsibilities are that the same key skill is taught each week, using provided booklets and resources. So on the Thursday, whatever it is, everyone's going to learn about positivity and being optimistic. All key skills are covered every year to aid retrieval, and activities reflect increasing challenge of line levels, which I'll go through in a moment. There was also a complaint when we did a staff survey that there was too many PowerPoints sent out at the beginning of a week. You've got to do word of the week, thought for the week, literacy, careers, and we thought, well, why don't we bring them all together? So I'll show you how we did that in a moment. At least one assembly linking to key skill, also to be delivered each half term. Language of the values to be used in schemes of work on showing classrooms and spoken around the world, around the school. And at least one King John video to be made for each key skill, and staff can volunteer or be nagged to be involved. So the student responsibilities, and this is where we felt there was a lot of clarity and a lot of foundational structure in how we would present these and build upon what students were doing. So we had, in year 7, we expect them to understand what the values mean and then use them in the classroom. In year 8, we want to understand why the values are important and use them around school. So it's a little bit more of a further understanding there. And we widen the area in which they need to apply them. So in a classroom, it's pretty straightforward, if you make it obvious enough, how a student should show integrity. But then in year 8, we actually want them to start really thinking about how they do that around school, especially when they're not being looked at or they don't have that watchful eye over them. In year 9, when we found that most of the trouble in the community came from was often with year 9s, we've decided to make that the time when they have a nuanced understanding of the values and show them in the community. As you can see, we've got different names. We've got Lion Club for year 7, Lion Learner for year 8 with a different colour badge, and Lion Leader for a gold badge, and that's what they get at the end of the year. Year 10 is about applying the values to future career plans and aspirations. That's when they do their work experience. So we feel like that's the best part to do that, best time to do that. Year 11 is applying the values to the way they see the world and relationships. And so they go from being a national citizen in year 10 to being a global citizen in year 11. Something that we already do as well is with year 12 and 13, they actually come into year 7 at character sessions, and they actually help lead those sessions as well. So they're becoming pride leaders there. And then we scrapped it all the next year. So we stayed with the same values. They're all exactly the same, but working with the behaviour lead, we decided actually, is it that well interleaved if we just do a whole half-term positivity and we don't come back to it properly for another year? So all the orange ones are all positivity and they're spread out. All of the yellow ones are resilience and they're spread out through the year as well, and so on. The other thing that we did is we went through different websites and found all the important dates that matters to the school and to young people growing up, and we tried to link our core value key skills with those as well. So for example, we've got Black History Month. In October, Black History Month, we've got learning about equality. Word of the week is equity. Speech marks, it's a bit random there to be honest, but it's there. Journalist for careers, because it's about learning about equality. Then we've got integrity and safer internet day. There's a few that I've randomly picked out, but going through them, we decided together we could justify every single one and where it was placed. Being vigilant for responsible, and career as electrician. A lot of these careers came from a parent survey that we did. Pilot came up a few times, strangely. So we thought, well, if it's Stress Awareness Month in April, let's do managing emotions and bouncing back for resilience, and put pilot in there as the career. And just a brief kind of run through of integrity, what that might look like really. If you've got year 7, courage in the classroom. Well, we did a video last year which had all students and staff giving their own definitions of courage. So students reflect on what does courage actually mean to them in the classroom. Year 8, having courage around school. So we're going to film someone that did really well in the Jack Petchey finals, and we're going to, they do actually a speech on bullying, but we're going to use that to talk about courage around school. Year 9 is when we start thinking about the research that we've done in terms of Aristotle and his golden mean. So it's the idea here that we're not saying that courage is necessarily a good thing all the time, as actually, as he points out, the deficiency virtue of cowardice is cowardice of courage, and then the excess virtue of that is actually recklessness, and that is when in year 9 they can be extremely reckless, and into later life as well. So that's what we focused on there. Year 10, they're going to use kind of discussion and videos about how students work, how courage is useful in getting a job, and they're going to add that to their CV that they're going to build throughout the year based on their core values. And then year 11, think about the wider world and their relationships. So when is courage important in a relationship? How can it help you begin, improve, maybe end a relationship if that's what's necessary for you and the other people involved? So during tutor time, we have about 10-15 minutes, and this is where, outside of normal lessons, where we've done a lot of the work. So once a week, students will have a booklet like this one in year 7. And at the front, it's got quite simply, I understand what core values mean, and I demonstrate them in the classroom. Student signature, staff signature. Once they've got that, at the end of the year, they can get a badge. Here is where they evidence everything, so they choose the task they want to do for each key skill, and then they write about it, how it's affected them, how it's affected other people. We've also got an area for them to write down the word of the week, literacy focus, and career, and then little spaces in that booklet that they can fill in based on the resources. So I'm going to show you just examples of resources that we do use. So year 7, for example, we'll start like this. So we've got our word of the week in capital letters, and our literacy focus, and we've got our core value in the middle. The students come in, they take notes of those, and then the tutor will go through what they mean, the etymology of the word, French and Spanish, as we do both of those at the school. They go through a definition of that, and then we look at examples. And then there's a little conversation with 2 students, and they have to decide where those capital letters go and manage to get integrity into the little conversation that they're having together as well. And so that's the little smart start, really. And then we move on to the actual task, also the actual session, really. We've got our line levels here, so the classroom, around the school and the community, just so year 7s know what's expected of them throughout the years. We've got a little smart start where they talk about how would you like to be greeted by students and staff. A little drawing that one of the students did. And then we will show them a video. So this is the first video that we made. I was thinking about what videos to show you, really. So I thought, why not start with the first one we ever did? And this really was just staff talking about how they like to be greeted, really, with positivity.
We asked members of the King John staff about the importance of greeting people in a positive way.
So I really like it when you have a student that you currently teach, a student that you used to teach, or somebody that you've never spoken to before, and they see you in the corridor, they walk past you, they smile, they say good morning, they say good afternoon. That makes me feel really good, and then that encourages me to go out and smile at somebody else and hopefully make their day a little bit brighter.
I think there's many reasons why it's important. It's an initial mark of respect for people. Saying hello, good morning, asking how they are, taking an interest is hugely important. It helps build relationships. Also, I think from a student and a teacher point of view, obviously, if you arrive to a classroom and I'm perhaps looking negative and grumpy and things like that, you might think, oh, what's up with Sir, or whatever. And same with yourselves, and think, oh, is there something going on? And I think it starts us off a lesson, and it starts off an interaction in the right way. It's hugely important.
Sometimes you might be having a really bad day and might be feeling a little bit grumpy or sad, and then you're standing at the door greeting students, and that student comes in with a big smile, says hello, says good morning. It can just change your whole mood, and then it changes the tone for the whole lesson and makes it a really positive experience for everyone.
I really like it when a student is happy and that you feel like your job has got purpose. If they're happy and you feel like you can make their day better and remember the experience being in the dining room, then that's a positive outcome.
I think the positivity of students greeting me is amazing. The particular job that I do, sometimes I have to deal with tricky situations, or I may be going to see the head teacher about something, or it may be that I'm on my way to go and see a parent perhaps, and that walk down to see those people, in actual fact when a student walks past me and says, "Morning miss, how you doing?" it just brightens my day. It makes everything feel better. Even now while I'm talking to you and smiling, I feel really positive and it makes me feel better. In the same token, I'll speak to students and I'll say to them, "Good morning, how are you doing?" And it's genuine. It genuinely is a positive feeling, and I'm hoping that they may get that back from me as well.
Okay, I like it when a student comes into the room and greets you and says, "Hi miss, hello miss." It makes you feel like they actually want to be in the room, and that you appreciate, especially as cover teacher, they actually want to be there with you and they're willing to learn and accept you.
So I think it's really important to be positive when you're greeting people, because I like the school to feel like a family, and I wouldn't dream of leaving my house in the morning without saying goodbye or coming home without saying hello. So I try and treat everybody the same as I would treat my family. And I always think I try and ask the children and try and ask staff, "How are you? You know, how's your day?" Because we never know what's going on, and that smile or that hello or that goodbye when you leave and that thank you might really mean a lot to them.
I think when students are positive with me, it's probably, it's genuinely one of the biggest reasons why I'm glad that I became a teacher. Furthermore, I think that when we're positive with each other, that's the emotion and energy we take home to our families as well. And so when we do have a really good day and students are really positive with me, I go home in a better mood. And that affects the people that I live with. And so yeah, I think it's really important.
I really like it when students make eye contact, because as someone that finds it really difficult to make eye contact, I feel it's really great when you are making a connection with someone, and it really shows that you're paying attention to what they're saying because you are deliberately looking their way.
I love it when a student walks into the room and if I say good morning to them, they say good morning back. I know we're off to a positive start of the day, and it really informs the rest of the lesson. We know we're going to have a good lesson.
Yes, I really like it when students come in with a really positive mindset, when they come in really ready to learn, ready with a good attitude, even give me a nice good morning, how are you sir, how's it going sir, even a little comment about football here and there. It makes me relaxed, it makes me want to feel like a better teacher, I want to match that attitude. I feel like I have a much better lesson when I can bounce that off, and yeah, it makes me want to match that attitude, because sometimes as well I can be a little bit grumpy, so when kids are showing me how it's done, sometimes I want to give that back, and like I said, have a much better lesson for me.
I think positivity is really important. However, there are just some days where you're not feeling it, and I think that's really important as well, to perhaps be honest about the fact you've had a long day or you're tired, but putting a positive spin on it, what you're looking forward to that evening or what you're going to get out of that lesson.
As part of the student support role in school, when the children come into school and they say good morning miss, it makes us feel that we're doing our job properly. They're happy, they want to come to school, and it makes us feel really good that we're doing something positive for them. So to say just morning and give us a wave or a smile to us just makes us feel really confident that we're doing the right thing for them.
Why is it important to greet someone in a positive way, and what does it look like?
I think meeting people positively makes people feel valued, makes people feel respected, makes people feel happy, and it also makes people feel that there's engagement between them and we can have a really positive environment around school.
Thanks for watching!
And so that is essentially what they watch, and then they write down 3 ways to greet staff, but also maybe 3 ideas why you might want to greet them in that positive way. We also have a career slide with that. So what careers might require you to greet people in a positive way. Our career lead will send me that as well. And then I put that in. It's usually got a video with it. And then we end with a smart depart. Acknowledge your tutor in a positive way, so using that language again. A little example of how they could just fill in their evidence form, and just a little poem that a student's written about positivity. And so if we then move a year later, they would come back to this at the same time the next year, and they would do greeting others, positivity greeting others again. And the layout's slightly different, so they have to remember the word of the week. There will be other opportunities in the year to remember these, but essentially it's an opportunity to remember what the word acknowledge, capital letters, career path, receptionist. I did this like yesterday with somebody. They all got them. And then there's the recap in character videos. It's the same video they watched in year 7. They don't have to watch it again, but it's there if they want it. And they want to. Here's them then discussing what's the best way to greet staff in an email. Because this is a problem we had at King John School, where students would not greet teachers in a very positive way, or not at all greeting them. So after a year, from that first video to this one, which was the last one we did, things have changed a little bit. We start taking a bit more risks in how we make the videos. I really regret now using an American accent in this video. If there's any American people in here, I'm really sorry. I hope you're not offended. You'll see what we're going for here. It was another member of staff's idea. I won't show the whole video, but I'll basically show the kind of idea. They watch the video and then they write down an appropriate email to a teacher. And this is part of character, but it's also tied up with things like literacy, and it benefits the school body as a whole. So,
what you see here may look like an ordinary classroom in an ordinary school, but the reality is far from ordinary and far from positive. What you're about to see is the shocking and uncensored truth. Welcome to When Emails Go Bad. Uncensored. Imagine a teacher minding their own business when suddenly they receive a disturbing message which shakes them to their very core. A message so thoughtlessly constructed, it has the power to completely ruin their day.
What is my uplearn?
No polite introductions, no sign-off.
I didn't get a reminder in the lesson.
No explanation.
I'm still thinking about my speech. I have no idea what I'm going to do. Can I have more time, please? Can you do Z to A opposite alphabetical?
And sometimes, no sense.
Mrs., I got late to lesson because of the bum assembly. Could you alls remove it?
I think I left my bag. Can you email if it's there?
What exam board is our PPE on?
What's my MyMath username?
I've done the homework on phone.
You haven't set the homework?
Homework? Why have I been marked late for line-out when I was there before you go to me?
When teachers receive these emails, you can't imagine the depths of despair that they have to go through. But it's not all bad. Some students take the time to consider how they are greeting staff.
Dear Miss, I was not in the last lesson of literacy due to office duty, so I was wondering if you could tell me what the homework you set for my class was. Kind regards.
A positive introduction, clear message, and an appropriate sign-off.
Hello, would you please be able to go for the first 2 questions on these? Thank you.
Morning, sir. I may be late to form this morning as all the buses so far have been too full to pick me up, and I've been waiting at my stop for over 20 minutes. I should hopefully be there in 20 to 25 minutes. Thanks.
Hi, sir. I will not be in next lesson as I'm racing for the school. Could you send me the work we are going to do so I can get it done ahead of time? Thanks.
Dear sir, I have amended the statement with your corrections. The character count is now 3,860. I have attached a copy of the statement to this email and will leave a copy on your desk. Any amendments or advice would be appreciated as always. Have a good day and kindest regards.
So a positive email really does have the power to transform the mood of these members of staff. Sometimes it can even make their day. So remember, a positive and polite introduction. Clearly explain how the person can help you. Keep a respectful tone. End with a positive sign-off. And be sure to check spelling, punctuation, and grammar before pressing that send button. Otherwise, you could end up on the next episode of When Emails Go Bad. Uncensored.
Yeah, so you can see how they've kind of developed, but it's an awful lot of fun to make, and weirdly, staff are always up for being involved in them. They do take a while to edit, but if you want to know anything about how to kind of create those videos, I can kind of give you some tips if you want. So then we have a little explanation, just an example of that character trait in action there, and then they can write their own one just as a bit of practice. Again, receptionist there, and with our careers, and then again the same kind of thing. So it's quite repetitive, but it's in a way that means that they can access it. Now, in terms of year 9, we're not really there yet. We've done year 7, doing year 8. We want to take a time with it because year 9 is a challenging year, and we want to make sure the resources and the character education is right. So we do it year by year at the moment, and it's a sensitive issue, especially when you're talking about how students should behave outside of school. We need to get that right and do our research with that. Just have a talk about the following in a minute. So if you choose a value, maybe you've done this already, can you separate that into key skills? Then a question then, how would you maybe spread those key skills throughout a year? So autumn term 1, maybe that resilience asking for help would fit there really well because students need to know, really do need to know for safeguarding reasons as well, where to go to ask for help. In the spring term, maybe you'd have resilience facing failure, because that seems to be maybe when they're looking to take those risks. Summer term and staying motivated, maybe when they're the most tired, maybe that's where that resilience key skill needs to be. And then how would you then develop those across a year? So year 7 in the classroom, year 8 around school, year 9 in the community, year 10 at work, year 11 in relationships, etc. If you want to take a bit of time just to think about that, if you've got any questions, feel free to ask those. I could show you another video if you want. Yes? They're supposed to be from 22 to on the hour, so 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So they'll at least do the word of the week, the character part. They won't always get to fit in the careers, but our overall plan is that the careers will take centre stage in year 10. So the other thing is that sometimes in other tutor times there's not enough to do, then they can go back and revisit that. That's something we've got to work on. It might be when we get to year 10, that's really where the bulk of the career stuff goes, but it's a good question because it really is. We adapt it every year and it will change, but we are trying to listen to staff and work out how we can improve that. Yeah.
You just give one tutor session a week to that?
Yes.
What happened in the other tutor time? Just assemblies?
So assemblies on Wednesdays, thought of the week is on Tuesdays, Monday is silent reading, Fridays is making sure everyone knows their pride points and their attendance. Yeah. If you need any tips with anything, my email and the head teacher's email is at the end. But thank you very much for having me. Much appreciate it.